Live. Oh, that was almost in sync.
Fuck.
That was close.
No.
That's the closest one so far. But we're back. First episode I can remember in a while after a loss. Um, but yeah, it's we've got two guests or not guests. It's just us, but we've got three instead of two this time. We got Ian and Dave. I'll start with you, Ian, since you weren't on last episode. How's it going? How you feeling? What was the match for you?
Match was. I won't even talk about it. That's no,
What would you
no,
come on here for?
no. No, it's like I was having such a good day. Didn't expect anything. Then wasn't having any expectations whatsoever. Didn't think we were gonna come even close to winning or scoring even. And then, as in Inter fashion, they give you hope for 70 minutes and then just break it in 5 minutes. So, yay.
Yeah, it is the hope that kills. But Dave, you've been getting at everybody on the timeline, getting your takes ready. What are we in for tonight?
Hey man, personally, I have to. I actually went back and I was driving and I was just playing the episode from before when we actually did a little preview, you and I, and even the one before that. I think the match went exactly as I expected it, and it's just hard to actually see it come to fruition. Like we knew what was gonna happen. I was here literally in the same spot. This is the same spot. I don't move the spot. Same spot. Last episode saying that okay, we're gonna be here next episode talking about some. Oh my God, we played well.
Yeah,
We created chances here. We should have scored there. We hit the post, and here we are. I knew exactly what was gonna happen. This is just the identity of the team. At this point, there's been about all competitions over 30 matches played, so we know what this version of Inter is. So we should have actually tempered our expectations. So I hope we're not too heartbroken because I'm definitely not. Don't get me wrong. As it was happening, I suffered just like everybody else did, but I got over it pretty quick because I expected it, and especially when I went and I saw that I predicted it to go exactly that way. I just pat myself on the back and I just went and took a nap. Now I'm just thinking about Sassuolo, man. We could go in depth in the game later on, but that was my initial reaction.
yeah. I mean, we did sit here and we talked about how we could end up playing well, which we did. But I mean, it's something that we've seen in the Champions League for I'd say 2 seasons now, at
Mm,
least, because I mean, you play well, but early on you hit the post or you hit the crossbar, and after that, like that's your best chance of the match. Like I can remember Sensi against Barcelona a few years ago, all the Shakhtar matches, the match against Real that was at home where I don't think we hit the woodwork, but Courtois made some great saves, and like
yeah.
you're going to get those couple of flash chances, but once they don't go in early, it's just kind of sit back and you're like, all right, like when's it going to come? When's the inevitable going to happen? And
Yeah.
this time, like the time against Real, they waited just long enough for you to be like, all right, we come out of here with a 0-0 draw. That'll be a decent showing. And then you're undone by a guy who hasn't scored against a top flight team in like a year. I
Last
forget how
goal
long
was
it
on the
is.
17th of December. I looked it up earlier.
Yeah, but wasn't it against like uh
Salernitana.
oh no. I was talking about Firmino.
He's talking about
Oh,
Firmino's
Firmino.
Firmino.
goal.
Sorry. I
Yeah,
thought we were
Firmino's
talking about
goal.
Lautaro already.
Uh, he's already ready to attack. Oh my god, he's got the stats
As
and
you see
everything.
today, I made sure I had my Lotaro jersey in the background just to show support because my boy is really embattled right now. Everybody's on his back. I'm sure I was one of those guys that was leading the charge, but at this point, I just feel bad for him, man. I can't kick a dead horse. At this point, he just needs support, and hopefully, he just busts out of the slump. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see what do our usual sufferers here with us think about it. Mattia, another great performance for 70 minutes for nothing to show. Yep. Once we hit about 75 minutes, if something's gonna go sideways, that's when it goes sideways. Um,
Mm. Well, I mean, I think if we didn't know why previously, yesterday's match showed us why this happens black and white. Um, the substitutions that Liverpool made. They brought in Luis Diaz, who they just bought for 60 million euros. Uh, Naby Keita, who they brought for 65. Firmino, who had cost him 45. Henderson, they bought him for 25 a couple years back. Milner, probably not. I'm not sure, but in total, it's close to 200 million euros. Like that's probably in comparison to us subbing in Gagliardini and Sanchez, hoping Sanchez creates a miracle at 33 years old. Darmian, Ranocchia, so this is where the difference is, because those high intensity matches, they take up a lot of energy. So it's completely normal for you to start tiring around the 65th, 70th minute, and for changes to be made. I think this is where the match was lost, actually. We could definitely look at exactly what happened with the Handanovic. Probably could have done better on the first one, or we probably could have scored a better with a better cross from Perisic to Lautaro on that one chance. We could look at those little moments, but to me, when you look at it in general, if you want to point your finger at something, this is definitely where we lost the match. It's like we couldn't keep up that intensity with them when they were bringing up fresh players and our guys were already tired, So, hey, kudos to them. We already know what it was. This was a game that was supposed to be a measuring stick against the top of Europe. They didn't embarrass us, which was the only thing I was really worried about. And of course, us in Interista, we could definitely go in depth and say, okay, if we had Gossens available, if we had Correa available to sub and just to run at them a little bit, if Barella was not suspended, what could have happened, So we know it's probably much closer than it was, because we still ran them pretty close with our B, not our B team, but with some key players missing. So I guess that's the moral victory to take out of it. But in the end, whatever we thought was going to happen is what happened. We lost.
Yeah, and I mean, we weren't undone by anything we didn't know was wrong with this team. Like, It wasn't Liverpool coming in and just blowing out like our top plan. Like, we played well. Allison said, like, after the match in an interview, that a draw was the fair result. I think Klopp had some positive things to say about the match, with wise.
No, you said that straight up. I agree with you, because I saw a lot of guys talking about, oh my God, I'm just worried that we don't get blown up 5-0. I don't know what I'm gonna do when the third goal goes in, stuff like that. Like, there was never going to be the case. We were not. That was you, Ian. Shame on you. But yes, like, I don't know, man. Football, it's a cruel sport sometimes, man. Like, a couple inches, like that Hakan shot hits the bottom of the crossbar and bounces right in. A couple inches, man. And it's a whole different match. A couple inches, Perisic squash to Lautaro, because Lautaro was right there on the replay, and that's a goal. So that's how close it was. So it's not like Liverpool were going to come and blow us up 4-5-0. I don't like taking those moral victories. Like, oh my God, Courtois said that we deserve more from the game. Oh my God, Alisson said that we probably should have gotten a draw. Klopp is patting us on the back. I don't know. From playing sports as a kid, I was always taught these things are like for losers. Don't take those moral victories, especially after you lost. They tell you that to make you feel better. But it is what it is, man. Hopefully we fix. Zan was in the stands. I'm sure he saw Dzeko towing himself around like a corpse. I'm sure he saw Handanovic's response on that goal. So hopefully, I don't know what he has to do, if he has to go make some sacrifices, but this squad needs strengthening. So we better not be weakening the squad. We need to fix it, and then we could go much further. We're not that far from the elite of Europe. That's what I take away from it.
Yeah. And like, to still be this close after the setbacks of the summer, like, I feel like we're so removed from the summer now that we kind of, don't give the setbacks that we took, like Lukaku blindsiding the club, Eriksen's situation, that was no one's fault, of course. Hakimi leaving, like, these were massive things. Conte leaving, like, that could have decimated, like, we were, like, maybe not us, but there were Inter fans that were like, all right, the goal's top 4 this season. Like, we're just hoping that, like, this doesn't fall apart. Like, it's just a setback in the cycle. Like, Liverpool.
I'll
Oh,
agree
I
with
was,
all those names you name except for Conte because I feel like Inzaghi's been a breath of fresh air for the club, especially looking at yesterday the way he set up this team. We were playing with Liverpool at some point. I'm sure Liverpool fans were clutching their pearls like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Because it looked like we were even better than them. That would never happen with Conte. So that's the only thing I wanted to add. But Lukaku, Hakimi, Eriksson, yeah, man, we suffered some big setbacks for us to still be this close. So that's a
yeah,
positive.
yeah. And Liverpool, I mean, they've been on this. I would say they've been working on this same cycle since Klopp got there, and that's been, my God,
Yeah,
what, 6 years now?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's
That's
been a
that's year
while.
six.
And that, like, we
Yeah,
were hemming them in at the beginning of the second half. Like they couldn't get out. Like how many teams play in the world play Liverpool like that right now? I don't know. It
yeah, for
just
sure.
it there's promise, and like moral victories of course aren't trophies. Like these are clips that someone could take and put like the invisible trophy meme beside it, whatever. But like
Exactly.
you got to take what you got to take from it. There are lessons that are learned. European, the European stage is a process, the same way that getting to the top of Serie A is a process. You got to, when you're starting where Inter started, like eighth place, seventh place, like top four is your goal. Then like, getting top two, then Scudetto. You have to learn how to play that level. And like, I mean, that level to win Serie A is not quite that, like the level you need to play with the real big boys in Europe. So like, we
Mm.
finally broke through, not choking away on the last match day of the group stages. So now we're seeing what the next stage is like. A lot of these guys haven't played at that stage. They're now
Yeah,
seeing that, like what it takes to get there, what it's like there, and they're seeing that they have, for the most part, what they need to do, like at that level. Like they have
yeah,
the quality. Like we just
yeah.
need a few more pieces, and this match could have gone a lot differently. Even inches, like you said, with the Hakan chance, I thought it was in. When it bounced down,
I
I was
thought
like,
it was
oh
gonna
God,
bounce in, just like the
yeah,
Zeko one from Napoli. I thought it was the same situation, but I'm looking, it's not in the net. I'm like,
yeah.
oh
And then
God.
like another one that was close, like I remember Konate like clearing something like with his like
Oh yeah,
facing the goal, and like I
yeah.
thought he like hit it straight at Allison for a second. I was like, what the hell? But
Oh, I
no,
thought
that
you
was,
meant the one where like Zeko was pretty much waiting for the ball and Konate like stretched and nicked it. I think
oh
that
yeah,
was a
yeah,
ball
that
from
too.
Dumfries or something like that. I mean, it's really a game of inches, like people like to say about sports. But yeah, you're the voice of reason, Mikey. I have to agree with you. It's just growing pains of the team. Just like last year, we were probably in the same position. Like, oh my God, why can't this team get through the first round? Why we finished fourth in the group? What's going on? Blah blah blah. Now we got through that hurdle. Now we at the damn shit. This is what the level is. This is what it takes. Okay, next year we're gonna go and get ready with that in mind. That's what it takes. That we need this level. So it's growing pain. So I agree with you, Ian. You've been too quiet, man. What's going on?
Nothing,
He
nothing.
said he
I'm
didn't
just
want to
listening
talk
to
about
your
it. I
take.
mean,
Well, you did say you didn't want to talk.
No, it's just that, I think most of the times Inter fans dig ourselves a grave that we eventually fall into with our expectations and shit like that. And I agree with everything you two have said. I think we are a couple of players away from really, not saying challenging for the Champions League, but certainly progressing further and further. Um, but yeah, it's just the individual performances when some players are a bit questionable. No, and I mean, yeah, I know you love Lautaro, do you have his jersey, but like, come on, it's been like what, 7 games since he scored. It's
Yeah.
he falls back
No,
into
I'm
his own
not.
cycle.
I'm not gonna defend them, to be honest, because if anything, Mikey could attest to that. We had a little back and forth a couple episodes back where I was saying, hey, this guy is never going to be a finisher. He's never going to be that goal scorer. And you were the one saying that it could be taught, give him some time and stuff. So hey, listen, if anything, you're the one that wants to keep it up. But on a serious note, we're not here saying that this guy needs to be chopped off. He's never gonna be good. He's trash. We definitely remember the good moments of Lotaro. We definitely remember good Lotaro. He's just in a slump right now that he just can't seem to get out of. And we could see now in retrospect how Conte helped him because Conte's movements were automatic. Whereas with Inzaghi, he has to do more of thinking for himself, finding space for himself, stuff like that. Conte had the PlayStation stuff going on where he knows that if Lukaku makes this movement, I make that movement, and the ball's gonna come to me. So regardless of what form you're in, you just follow that like a robot, and good things happen to you. So I guess that's what we saw from last year. This system, which is more of a free system, he's struggling in it a bit. I see it's been a tendency of blaming Zeko. I guess to some extent Zeko could carry some of the blame for Lautaro's slump, but I think he has to take the blame, because if anything, this system is giving all the players, especially the forwards, freedom to play as they choose to play, as they feel comfortable playing, and he's just not delivering the goods. That's what I'm seeing right now.
I think
Hopefully,
that's the problem.
Sassuolo match he could get a goal. But go ahead, bro.
I think that's the problem with Lautaro, is that he has too much space and too much time to think for himself what to do. I think he just doesn't have that in him
Yeah,
right
we
now.
saw that.
You know?
We saw that in two instances that are very very vivid in my mind, where he had that run at Van Dijk
And
and
like, yeah,
decided to just make a business decision, like, you know what, I got a daughter, I got a wife, let me just cut back. You know what, he just decided, there were more things more important than football. He made a decision, and there was the other time where Hakan made that long run. I don't know how the hell he outran the whole midfield and laid it off to him. And instead of taking the shot right there or even laying it back to Hakan, he's cutting back on his right foot and he gets the ball taken away from him. So, yeah, you're very spot on there, Ian. Those are two instances that it definitely looks like he had too much time, too much space on his hand, and he just couldn't make a decision for himself. Spot on.
yeah, I've been thinking that like the whole season, like whenever he just runs or is under pressure or needs to make a decision quick, he does that okay. But if he has like even that split second to just doubt himself, he'll just fuck it up. He'll mess it up. I mean,
Damn.
Sad,
it's
sad
tragic.
state of things. Yeah. No, I do still wonder if it just is going to be trying to figure out a system like Inzaghi's. I mean, he's never played in one like that. I wouldn't say. I mean, when he first got to Inter, it was what, Spalletti. I mean, he didn't play too much under Spalletti. So the first
Yeah.
real system that he learned was Conte's system. So
You're right.
I mean, maybe there's just still is some adjustment there. That's the most hopeful thing I think that you could take out of it. I mean, there is, of course, maybe it's just not him. Maybe he does need a system where he can't think or doesn't need to think to thrive. I mean, you never know. But there was something to kind of, nuance this a little bit more that Interpol said. I'll pull it up right here.
While you pulling it up, real quick, I saw one of the comments that said that from, I think, Due. I mean, how would you want Lautaro to dribble by Van Dijk? I mean, I agree. Like, this is probably the best defender in the world. He's probably the toughest guy to dribble, but it's just a matter of mentality. That's what we're bringing up. It's like, at least try something. Dribble at him. At least try to draw a foul, make him commit and buy a foul, something like that. But the fact that he just gave up and he just got the ball taken away from him, which luckily for us turned out to be a corner. That's what we're saying. We're not saying that, hey, you could go take on Van Dijk and win. We're just questioning his mentality. That's all.
Yeah, and speaking of Hakan, this will be something for later, but I want to get it in right now because I'm thinking about it. But how good was he yesterday? Like that performance really surprised me with the way that Liverpool press is. Like,
Yeah,
how he thrived in that, like, was really surprising to me.
yeah.
But
No, absolutely.
yeah, what I wanted to get to, Interpol, he makes a link between our pressing dropping off when Lautaro left, and then Firmino's opener 5 minutes later. I think that's fair, but then also you have to take into account that the whole team was gassed, and there was nothing on the bench. Like, there were like multiple Primavera players, like Carboni, Segnali. Like, I mean, who are we gonna put on? There was nothing else, but I do think it's fair that Lautaro does lead that press, but I mean that wasn't what we were missing there. Like, to be fair, Bastoni lost his man on a drawn up, pre-planned set piece routine by Liverpool for that first goal.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we could definitely start pointing fingers, you know. But I think what Interpol means is that maybe Lautaro should have been kept on the pitch, which I definitely think there's a shot for that because um I do understand why normally Inzaghi would keep Zeko on the pitch. Um, Usually he's good at those late goals like we saw against Venezia, and he wins you those aerial duels and stuff like that. But yesterday, man, I think Zeko had one of his worst matches in my opinion, because he was just not up to the pace of the match. So I would have personally liked at that 70th minute mark to pretty much replace Zeko with Sanchez, and I think we probably would have had a probably better chance. It's not like Sanchez is quick; it's like fast at his age, but it's still a little quicker than Zeko. It's still he has that twitch to him still, you know. So I think that's what Interpol means. Maybe he could comment against or specify, but yeah, I think that's what he meant as far as Lautaro, because I did notice that as soon as we did take him off, the intensity dropped a bit. I'm not sure if that was a coincidence of us getting scored on 3-4 minutes later, or if it's just his energy that we missed. But we can't fault the substitution either because like we needed to try something else, man. Like it was just not working for 70 minutes, you know.
Yeah, and I mean these are the kind of matches where Alexis can come on and do something,
Hmm.
but in this match, like I can't remember him doing anything other than like one dribble through like one like massively chaotic dribble through the midfield where I don't know he had like people hacking at it. I don't know how he kept the ball,
Yeah, yeah,
but like
yeah,
it
yeah.
didn't contribute to anything.
Hmm. No, no, let's for real. Like, I want to definitely pick it back off that on that Hakan praise because if anybody wants to like if anybody that knows him or that's watched him last year at Milan or the years before that want to see the difference between like wants to see the growth of Hakan Çalhanoğlu, this match is the tape for you to watch because he was not that pretty little central attacking midfielder that he usually is that knocks free kicks and does pretty passes. He was a dog yesterday in that midfield, like put in challenges like Vidal was battling. So we saw that aspect of his game, and we saw the defensive aspect because on that goal, like on that ball to Salah, I was sure that was going to be a goal. Like, but for some reason, somehow he reached it. So like this guy, he was all over the pitch. He hit the crossbar for us. That's the closest we ever came to scoring in this game, and he set up Lotaro, and that ain't come to nothing. So yeah, to me, top three men of the match as far as Inter for me were probably Perisic, Hakan, and Skriniar because Skriniar was massive. He had Mane in his pocket to the point that they had to just sub off Mane, you know. But Hakan, let's definitely give Hakan his dues because this guy he's been at this point. I was already expecting him to start losing consistency, but he's still playing up to par, you know. So I'm happy for him. I'm happy with him.
Yeah, I mean the worst midfielder, in the match was Brozovic, but I just think that's because the press was, really keeping him out of it, and I mean his usual partner Barella, of course, gone, and then we've got Vidal in there instead, who played decent. He kept his antics to a minimum. He didn't even pick up a card, so I think that's a
Yeah.
successful Vidal performance. Um, well,
But that's the thing. Also, we always have people. I mean, I appreciate everybody that always comments on all my posts and brings up stuff. I had a couple people that brought up that Vidal was actually, if we want to be nitpickers, he was actually at fault on both goals. Supposedly, he's the one that lost the ball that went to the corner on the first one, and he's the one that he lost the ball on the second one as well. So somebody was trying to bring up the point that Vidal was the reason why we lost, you know. But in my opinion, I think that it was a throwback performance by him. We didn't miss Barella too much, you know. Of course, there's more that Barella could have done, like the run that Hakan did that led to nothing with Lotaro. Barella could have done plenty of those runs for us. You know, he has the lungs for it and the legs. So we definitely missed him, but um, Vidal did as much of as a job as a replacement as we could have expected. So um, let's not pick on Vidal too much here, guys.
yeah, like it was a decent performance. I mean, Barella, I think, yeah, could have gotten forward much more. Like
Mhm.
when Hakan was running with that, you could have had Barella on the other side running with that. So you would have had Hakan on one side. You would have had Lautaro through the middle, you would have had Barella on the right. And I think having three guys up there instead of just the two where Lautaro then overthinks it and, loses the ball. I mean, there could have been something there, or maybe like with the Hakan chance, when that ball comes off the crossbar, it comes in right where Barella makes those runs into the box. Like that's where he scored his like one goal in Serie A this season, was right there in the box on that same side of the pitch. So if he would have been there to make that late run in that Vidal's not going to make because he's 500 years old, there that could have made a difference. But all things considered, we can't fault Vidal for what he did, but we can look and be like, yeah, there was a lot of running that Barella would have done that would have given us more of an advantage. And then another thing, I know we've talked about the strikers, but I don't know, to take it to a like broader context, like I wonder what this like attack would look like if Correa hadn't gotten injured, or if he had come back. Not even if he was playing in this match, but if we weren't playing Dzeko every single match for 90 minutes, if we were able to, shake things up, some more Correa, Lautaro, they seem to be kind of figuring it out before the injury. I mean, you could have Correa with Alexis, Correa with Dzeko, we could have found something that was working better. And like, I don't know. I feel like that's part of the reason that we're not getting the most out of Dzeko right now, is because like, he is running every single match.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure that Dzeko is playing a much bigger role than it was planned for him to be playing. We spent 30 million on Correa for a reason. It's probably because Inzaghi he probably was convinced that he could play him with Lautaro up top at least most of the time. And to that credit, we spoke about that last podcast as well. Against Napoli, the first match that we won against Napoli, I think they started Correa and Lautaro, and they did very well. And they combined on that third goal that Lautaro scored. So that's what we missed yesterday, a player that could run with the ball, that could run at defenders, and that still has pace to the point where you have to respect them enough that you're not going to be – because what they did to us, like, it was pathetic at some point because they knew they didn't have any pace, so they just compressed. They just shrunk the field and – played the offside trap and dared us to beat him in a foot race, which we couldn't. Only Perisic was able to do that a couple times, but when he did, like, or strikers were still trailing. So it was pathetic. But yeah, I did mention it. We missed Correa, in my opinion, more than we missed Barella yesterday. Just having a striker that you could just knock that ball over the top, which we did a couple times. That's when we found the joy in the second half, in my opinion, when we knocked that ball over the top and we found Perisic in space or Dumfries in space. It would have been good to have a striker that was quick enough to keep up with those guys. If anything, just for the sake of data, maybe we could see it in the second leg, even if we don't go and reverse things. But I'm pretty sure that it would have looked different with Correa. So hopefully Dumfries and Correa, I mean, not Dumfries, Gosens and Correa could play the second leg, and we could see what it would have looked like,
Yeah, and speaking of Dumfries, that was another good performance, I thought, today or yesterday now. I don't know, he started a little deeper. I've mentioned this before in matches where he started deeper, but like I felt like his runs were more dangerous. Like he was able to like read what was in front of him while making his runs instead of trying to, hang on the shoulder of the last man, even though that probably would have helped in this match. And maybe he could have done a little bit more of that, but there also, he had to do a lot of defensive work, and I think this was his best defensive match. Like, I mean, when you're matched up against, Sadio Mane and Andrew Robertson, like, I mean, that's that you have to play some defense, and I think he did a very good job.
I agree. I think. No, go ahead, Ian.
Ian, go. You didn't want to talk about it, but talk about it.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, talk about it, Ian.
I do like the fact that Dumfries is starting to find his own ground here at Inter. I questioned him like a couple of months ago and said, there's a reason he was still in the Eredivisie up until he was, 25 years old. But I really do like the fact that now he's settled in, knows the system, knows the league, knows how to play in that higher tier football that's not just the Eredivisie. Not disrespect to the league, but it is a step up even with Champions League knockouts. It's not the same as PSV versus Inter versus Liverpool, So yeah, I think he is doing a really nice job replacing Hakimi. Not the same level, obviously, but he is becoming his own player, not just a part of the system, but someone you can actually rely on. We see that his crossing is improving, his decision making is improving. These were the type of things that at the start of the season we were questioning. Will it improve? Will it ever get better? It has gotten better. I love that. Now we have two quality wing backs again. Perisic is doing bits. Dumfries is doing bits. It's just other things that we need to focus on now.
Yeah, I mean, Perisic, we know from 2018, that guy knows how to show English players levels. I mean, his performances in the World Cup were great against England. But I mean, he ran circles around Trent, and that's regarded as one of the best, fullbacks in the world. And Perisic just had his way for 90 minutes. But to go back to Dumfries, what really stood out to me, like the point where I was like, wow, like I don't remember Hakimi even doing this, which is, kind of sacrilege almost to say. But when he played that like long ball, the long switch, yeah, that long switch to Perisic, I was like, if Hakimi did that, it would just be rolling. It would be a worm burner straight across the grass. Like it would not have made it there. That was really surprising to me. And I was like, we need to start doing
Did
that.
You just say worm burner?
Yeah. You never heard that term? Yeah, it's like daisy cutter, but a little more, a little more disgusting.
Oh
I
man,
guess. I don't know.
only on the brothers of the world, bro.
No, but I don't
yeah,
know.
on Dumfries though, yeah, this guy's been a joy. I don't think that he was particularly great yesterday, but in general, I feel like it's been a joy to watch this guy come in as a guy that was lost at first and pretty much go from strength to strength. There was a time where he was benched like 3-4 matches in a row where he couldn't even come in. So we were like, what was going on? Is he going to be a flop? But then he was learning, and then from then on he's been going from strength to strength, just improving. So you see, he knows the system. He's making the right decisions. He's thinking less and reacting more now, which is good. That means it's coming second nature to him. But that switch to Perisic that you mentioned, Mikey, that's a great shout. I forgot to bring that up. That's a very great shout because I was watching the match live. When it happened, I thought it was going to be too long or something like that, because of course we know Dumfries has donkey tendencies. Sometimes his touch is a little brick, and sometimes his balls are not accurate. So I thought it was going to be overshot, but it was right on point. And I think that's from that shot, that switch that Perisic created, that cross to Lautaro that missed from inches. So that would have been a beautiful goal had we been able to finish it. But yeah, very good shot, and I'm happy with Dumfries to the point now where it's no longer even a question of bringing Darmian in as a starter. I think the order has been restored. We know who our starter is, and we know Darmian is back to being his backup, regardless of his great performances and his key goals and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, bar injury or suspension, it's definitely Dumfries every week. But I mean, Darmian is the type of player I think that is fine as a backup, and I think he's not gonna make a fuss. He's not gonna be like Alexis. Oh, I'm a caged lion. Just get me out there, coach. Come on, put me in. He'll come on and he'll do his job when he comes on. He'll get a goal or two. He'll have solid defensive work. But
nothing flashy.
Yeah, nothing flashy, but you don't need that from a backup right wing back. But
I think he's best as backup, if you ask me, because he brings up those fresh legs from the bench that, okay, he's not the fastest, but he can still use his quote-unquote pace, if you know what I mean, and his bit of unpredictability and his experience. I think that's best off the bench instead of starting him against a fresh opponent on their fresh left flank. Left flank. So it's used. I won't say useless, but it's not wise to use a slower player that will tire himself out against an opponent who can easily just beat him out with pace. I think his experience is better used off the bench when you need to either close a match or chasing something
yeah. Once everyone else is gassed, Let me get through a couple of these comments and get any last remarks about the match, and we'll go ahead and move on because I think we've talked about as much about a loss as I think we can, and Ian didn't want to talk about it to begin with. So let's see.
Everything's been said on the timeline. I've been seeing bitching and moaning the whole time on Twitter. It's
Oh yeah. Once the first goal went in, I was like, guys, we've been planning for this for like 3 weeks. Now the sky is falling. Like, come on, we gotta stick to the script. We had a plan
Exactly.
here. We had an
We saw
agreement.
it coming. Yep.
Yeah. Let's see. Mattia said Alexis was player of the month, deserved to play more than Lautaro. I think we kind of covered that. Alexis doesn't have the legs for a match like this. I think Interpol also said the same thing about Lautaro or Alexis not having the legs. What else? Where are any good ones? Emiliano. Oh, sorry about that.
But I do agree though that I would like to see probably Sanchez start against Sassuolo.
Yeah.
This match yesterday was probably too much for him as far as the intensity, but yeah, he does have a point that he was a player of the month for us, and right now he is probably our most informed striker still. So yeah, I'd like to see him get a start against Sassuolo.
Yeah, I think that's a good segue. If I missed any comments, there's quite a few. Thanks for a busy chat right now, but yeah,
Oh yeah, it's
that is
lit.
that's a good segue. I thought Alexis was gonna start Sassuolo, especially once I saw the lineups. I was like, well, if we're starting these two guys, it's probably gonna be Alexis and probably Dzeko. I think. I mean, he scored in the first leg or the return fixture, whatever you want to call it, and I remember Alexis's first really good match for Inter was against Sassuolo. I think he either had a brace or like forced an own goal or something. That was one of the first really good matches I remember from him when he was under Conte. So I mean, if he knows how to play against, if that's just a good matchup for him, like I want him in there. And of course, we're gonna have a fresh Barella. I mean, I don't know how much longer it is on Gosens. I don't know if he's just shooting for the beginning of March, like Correa is. But I
Yeah.
think having a fresh Barella, having Alexis from the start, we'll probably see Caicedo at some point. I would think. But yeah, I think we bounce back if we play like we did against Liverpool against Sassuolo. Like that's a team that cannot keep up with us. And Ferrari, their captain and like their main center back, he got a red card last match, so he's going to be suspended.
Okay.
But yeah,
But Scamacca and Raspadori are gonna be back from suspension, right?
yeah, they should be back. Let me pull this up.
Okay.
Inter Sofa. I'm using Sofa Score, sue me, but let's see if they even have a predicted lineup yet, because the match is until Sunday.
nope.
They do not. But yeah, those two guys should be back. I think it was 1 game suspensions for both. For yellow card accumulations.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they'll be back, and Fratesi, Raspadori, Scamacca, all linked to us. So they're all three going to score hat tricks. It's going to be like 9-2. Nah, but I feel fine going into that Sassuolo match. I'm not too worried. But
Yeah.
Ian, how do you feel about it? Are you worried about Sassuolo, given how how much it took to hang with Liverpool for that long?
The only thing I'm worried is not. I'm not even worried about the opponents anymore. I think Inzaghi proved himself to go toe to toe with any manager and any team that we faced so far. The only thing I'm worried about is, like I said before, digging ourselves our own grave. Creating so many chances and then in the end getting hit on the counter, conceding due to a stupid mistake, stuff like that, and not having the goals to fall back on. We saw like Milan, Liverpool, even Juventus, the Supercoppa match. We create so much, and yet we have little to none to show for. That's the only thing I'm worried of. I believe we will create chances. I believe we will waste a lot of chances. I hope we score some goals, and I just hope like the individual mistakes happen less and less often. That's the main thing that I'm worried about. Not even the getting outplayed by the opponent. We saw Inzaghi. I won't. Okay, yeah, I'll say it. We saw Inzaghi outplay Klopp last night. I think Klopp didn't have any solution bar his bench. The fresh legs basically saved him, if you ask me, from the bench. Other than that, I think he didn't have an answer to our basically to our own mistakes. We would have scored like 3 goals if we had Lukaku up top probably or something like that, you know. So that's that.
Yeah, it is what it is. But no, for real. Honestly, like now that I've slept on it, like I'm pretty confident about the Sassuolo match because what we've seen from this team this year is like when we've gotten those losses, which all of our losses have been super disappointing. We've bounced back the next match, and we've had a performance worthy of the fans, you know. So I'm pretty sure that we'll be well prepared for Sassuolo. Or engine Barella, he's gonna be fresh. Um, Sanchez, he deserves a start, and the fact that Bastoni came back, I'm not sure if that suspension was reduced because it was a 2 match ban he got, and he missed Napoli. I'm not sure what they said. They said we were gonna appeal it, but I never heard anything back from that. I'm not sure if it's still 2 match or if he's gonna be allowed to play Sassuolo, but that would have been refreshing as well. If not, then DeMarco, I trust him. Um, yeah, this Sassuolo match, man, it's the only thing that's kind of sticky about it to me is because, as you guys know, I've been obsessively following them 3 boys that we've been linked with, and after watching us struggle yesterday, I'm like, oh my god, I just want Skamaka to just start scoring, start banging goals, start growing, and then we're the next team that he plays. So I just want his growth to be stunted a little bit for one more match. And then after they play us, I want to see him show like take big strides to show that he's ready to be a starter for us next year. Because the way we all kind of agreed that it was going to be him backing up Zeko or him kind of sharing time with Zeko until he's ready. But I think we need him right now. We need some fresh legs right now. Not as far as right now. I mean, like at the start of next season. So he will need to take strides. I will be watching him. Hopefully, he doesn't do too much against us. But if there's a way he could probably hit the crossbar or miss the goal a couple times, just for us to say like, damn, this guy played well, and we'll still win the match, that'll be perfect for me.
Yeah, I want to see him get one of those shots like he scored against Milan. Not that he's going to score it, but I want him to take one of those rockets and then Handanovic save it. So we're not talking bad about Handanovic. And then also Skamaka looks good. I think that would be a win-win. But yeah, after us, they play Fiorentina and a couple of other teams. But yeah, Skamaka can go on a tear after playing against Inter. Just give us one match. You know, if you want to come to Inter that bad, cut us a break, please.
No, 100%. I mean, we need the win right now, man. We're down bad. And I think we play on Sunday, right? So Milan plays Salernitana on Saturday, I believe. Right?
That's a training session.
Or the other way around. Because I'm asking because we might go into that match down 4 points on the table, you know.
Oh, true.
So like that's a match that like that's gonna add that extra pressure. So that's why last week we spoke Mikey and I said that Sassuolo match is a match that is kind of it's important. After we get through that, then we could start breathing and tell ourselves that okay, we're gonna get some fresh bodies back. And we could actually make that final push that we were talking about.
Yeah, and I happen to just come across this, but a headline that Gosens may be fit to be on the bench for the match against Sassuolo. I mean, if you have him coming on late, that's also huge to have that running after Perisic. I mean, that's like putting Perisic number 2 on the pitch, and then
yeah, I mean that's what Liverpool did to us, bro. That's literally what they did to us yesterday. They just put same qualities. They just replaced their high quality players with the same high quality players, but fresh. You know, it's like almost unfair, man. But yeah, that'd be cool. And now that you mention it, I think we could take it even further. That's been a trend on Twitter, so I'm not gonna say it's my idea or anything, but that's something that we all should wish that Inzaghi has in mind that as Gosens gains fitness, that he tries Perisic as a second striker or as a striker in general, you know, because one thing we don't want to lose his production on the pitch because I think he's been one of our best players all season. So we don't want to bench him for Gosens or all of a sudden start sharing his time with Gosens. So if there's a way we could try him with our struggling strikers and that will add some pace, I think we should give it a try. Conte had played him at that position a couple times, so why not? Like, give it some work. So at this point, we desperately need pace. I see Ian is shaking his head. He can't wait to get back at me. But yeah, I just think it's an idea that's worth trying. I just wanted to give it a shot.
Yeah, I'm not even like shaking my head against you. It's just I don't know where this Perisic as striker idea comes from because he's best utilized on the left flank. He always has been cutting in from the left onto his stronger right foot or
Mm.
whichever his strong
No,
foot
but
is. I mean,
Both.
that's a way of incorporating Gosens into the squad. That's the only
yeah, yeah, for
reason.
sure.
That's all.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But it's just like I saw some takes like to keep Perisic and play him as striker like the whole season. I don't know where that is because he's not as good as like holding the ball up. Even though he is tall and strong, he cannot do what Lukaku or Dzeko do. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't, he has never really consistently played the striker. He was always either a left winger or for us he was left wing back. You know, even if you look at Bayern, who have starts the top four, like he always played on the left or the right flank. You know that's his positions. He's not really an out and out striker. That's the
Can
only
he
thing
can,
that.
can he do much worse than Lautaro right now in the form that Lautaro is in? Though I mean, I don't want to kick a dead horse, but at least we would have a guy that you could knock the ball forward and let him chase it. But
I
I don't
think the
know. I
40-year-olds I
personally
played
when I
footy with can do
huh.
better than Lautaro. I think the 40-year-olds I played footy with on Monday can play better than Lautaro right now.
No, the thing about Perisic's striker is he's never like Conte's tried it, Inzaghi's done it. I don't think those
Mhm.
matches have ended well. Like
I think
maybe
I
it's
think
because
he's I think
also,
he scored a couple goals actually. That
yeah,
striker.
I think he scored, but like I don't think we won those matches if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, when
No,
Conte
no,
tried him,
yeah.
he decided to ship him off to Bayern because he couldn't adapt to left wing back. He can adapt to striker, so you know what you're gonna do with him.
He can adapt to Bayern, yeah. Nah, but I mean, I get the sentiment, and maybe part of the issue was that while Perisic is playing up top, we're playing who the fuck ever at left wing back. So maybe having Gosens there, that does fill that hole, and maybe it could work. I mean, it'll probably
Yeah.
be worth a shot. I'm sure we'll see it at some point, whether it's as a substitute or if it's from the first minute. It's worth a shot again because what else are we gonna do at this point?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, we're stuck with what we got as far as like the striker position for the rest of the season. Um, let's not make it seem like it's garbage. We still have good players. It's just like um, one of them is in a bad slump. One of them is super old, and one of them that we dared rely on has been injured for most of the season. So that's what it is. Sanchez, ironically, who would have thought that Sanchez would have been our most reliable striker at this point, especially after coming off an international break where he played 2 matches for Chile. Like, so the world is upside down right now. But the thing about football is beautiful, man. It only takes one match, like one time seeing the ball go through the net, one shot he for Lautaro. Next thing you know, he's going on a run of form. So let's just hope that this is the match that it clicks, and then we could go on a run. That's how I look at it. Let's not be too negative. I know we're down right now because we lost, but this guy's not falling.
Yeah, I mean, we could really use a win here, of course, and like winning here would be massive because like then you're fully out of this run that we were like, wow, like
Mhm.
who the hell put this
Put the
together?
schedule together, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, Sassuolo, then Genoa, then Coppa Derby, then Salernitana, then Liverpool, then Torino. I mean, that's not a terrible stretch. I mean, you do have a Coppa
No.
Italia semifinal and then the last of the two legs against Liverpool. But I mean,
Mhm.
those Serie A matches, it doesn't matter if they're after one of those or not. Those are winnable fixtures.
No,
A
for
win
sure.
against Sassuolo would just set us up to, just run the rest of the table. And we need that badly.
You
I
can't
look
forget
forward to
the
seeing
Bologna
when.
fixture as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say I look forward to seeing when
Mhm.
that's gonna be scheduled for. I wonder if they're just waiting for us to drop out of the Champions League to schedule that.
That's what it is, yeah. Because they were saying that if we do qualify, somehow, of course, the Champions League is going to take a precedent over the missed fixture. So we would have to wait to probably April to play that, which wouldn't be good for us because I'm sure we want to get those points on the table as soon as possible. But yeah, they're waiting for us to get knocked out. So if we get knocked out early March, I'm sure that probably mid March, one of those mid weeks that are empty. We're gonna play that match. So hopefully we could get it out of the way, man. I want to do it soon because Bologna are in a slump right now. So I would definitely like to see them, but it doesn't look like it's gonna happen soon, man.
Yeah, like looking at Bologna right now, like their last 5 fixtures, four losses and a draw. I mean, this would have been the time to have them.
We definitely want to play them right now.
Yeah, but it'll probably be. Let me look at the schedule if I'm gonna speculate. There is probably after Liverpool. There's a week we play Torino on the 13th. Then from the 13th to the 20th, there's nothing. So maybe it could be in there between the 13th and the 20th between Torino and Fiorentina. I mean, we go ahead and get it out of the way. That would be the best thing possible. Go ahead and get back to the top of the table, and then it's roses and butterflies and whatever.
Yeah, and in the meantime, I think early March, I think that's when Milan's schedule gets a little tougher. They play I think they see not Napoli actually. So hopefully they could draw and just knock points off each other. And I think they got Atalanta. No, I think they got Atalanta pretty late. So but yeah, their schedule gets tougher while ours is quite manageable. So early March is definitely what we should be looking forward to. Let's take
They
care of
have
Sassuolo. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh no, sorry. I was just gonna say that Napoli and Milan play right after our first leg of the Copa semifinal. So that's March 1st, then March 6th is Napoli Milan. So like
Uh,
go out and grind them down and hopefully, Milan Napoli ends in a draw.
mhm.
Then they don't really have anything too tough till the very end of the season. It doesn't look like. So the second leg of the Copa in April, then they play Lazio, then they play Fiorentina, then Verona, then Atalanta. Then they end the season with Sassuolo. That's a hairy
That's
little ending to the season.
yeah. I can't. I personally I would be very surprised to see them get maximum points from those 5 matches you mentioned. You said what? Say it again, please. You said
Um,
Verona.
yeah, let me pull it back up. I was going to Napoli.
uh,
AC Milan, standings. Yeah, this is terrible. I could have this pulled up, but screen sharing, I don't want to fuck it up. But yeah, the matches. So we'll start with the Copa semifinal, Inter and Milan, then Lazio, then Fiorentina, then Verona, then Atalanta, and then Sassuolo away to end the season.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is, what's funny about Milan is that they're those matches they could win them, and they're dropping points to matches that we expect them to win. That's been their identity this season. Not that I expect them to drop points to Salernitana, but it's any week with them. So hopefully we could get back to the top of the table very fast. So we're gonna need them to schedule that match as soon as possible.
Yeah, and then Napoli, I mean, I think is the team that I'm more worried about. Their tougher stretch is actually right now. After Cagliari, of course. They played today 1-1 with Barcelona. Then they play
Mhm.
Cagliari. The whole Mazzari thing there, maybe something funny will happen there, but I wouldn't put my money on it. Um,
Mhm.
then it's Barcelona's second leg. Then it's Lazio, Milan, Verona, Udinese. That'll be a little bit of a break. Then Atalanta, Fiorentina.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh yeah, oh yeah.
so they're a little theirs is a little more spread out, but there's still some tough matches for them to come as well. I mean, to be fair, we still have Juve. I think that's the biggest one going forward, and then Roma. I mean, I always get a little worried when we play a team for a third time in a season. So when it's
Mhm.
a match that we have against someone in the Copa, after that, I always worry a little bit. Like I don't want them to figure us out. I don't need Mourinho to figure us out, and unravel everything. But I mean, those are our two toughest matches left. Like we've talked
Yeah.
about, those guys still have to go through their tough spots, and that's where it'll be decided.
That's
Well,
what I'm counting
let's
on.
wait and see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
I, I just hope that when we get up our slump of not really performing, dropping points to these bigger oppositions, we can pick it up by beating the quote unquote smaller teams, the weaker oppositions, and getting the maximum amount of points there, whilst others start to slump like we did. We dropped points against Milan, against Napoli. I hope others do that the same as well.
Well, right before we started dropping points, Milan and Napoli were both dropping points, and then it kind of switched around, and that's how they gained that ground back as quickly as they lost it. And so, I mean, it's just kind of been that how this season is, very like back and forth with momentum for every contender. And I guess Juve is still out there. I mean, I've seen some people put them in the hunt still, saying not to count them out. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I don't think they're looking at the Scudetto, but I mean, you never know with, I mean, Vlahovic still up there, but the rest of their team, there's still some holes they have to fill, I think.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I mean personally, I don't think Juve are still in the hunt for the title because well, the fact that they were able to leave Bergamo with a point in a big match like that kept them in the hunt. But Atalanta still have a match in hand on them, so I believe that Juve are still not even in the top four officially yet. So let alone talk about the Scudetto. So no, I don't think they're too far. I mean, they're definitely they've cleaned it up ever since January, but I think it's a little too late in the game. I don't think that we're gonna drop 9 points. How many points we got on them? If we count the match in hand, how many points will we have on them? Let's say we count 3 points.
let's see. We are currently on 54, Juve on 46. We have a game in hand. Let's
So
say we win that. That's 57.
that'd be 11
46.
points.
It's
Yeah.
11 points.
Yeah.
quick
So no,
math.
that's a little that's a little too far for me.
Yeah. And then so it's 3 horses to the end of this thing. We're kind of getting into the final straightaway. It's getting this is where you need wins, and I don't really worry about Inzaghi against smaller teams. Like even when he was at Lazio, he would regularly put up 5, 6, 7 against these teams, and then
Yeah.
I mean, and I think what we saw against Liverpool is going to be some great momentum. Like this team sees what their football can do against the biggest teams. So
Yeah.
if they just do that against the smaller teams, like, it's going to be like the October, November stretch that we had where it was, cruising. We weren't worrying about anything. We were just, on Twitter during matches joking. I've barely been on Twitter during matches these past few weeks
Yeah,
because
this past couple months, yeah, it's been
yeah,
tough.
it's been tight. So I'm looking forward to hopefully getting back to that.
Same.
Yeah, should we get to any of these comments and then maybe get out of here?
I saw one before about Brozovic and Perisic situations.
Yeah, I saw that
Because
too. Let me see if I can pull that
909.
back. Okay, I found it. No, was
Yeah.
this it?
Yeah, this one.
Was this the
I
one?
think so, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Mr. Pleasant saying comments on the Murata statement regarding Brazo and Perisic wanting to stay and working towards it. I mean, it's what we've kind of been expecting, for the past few months. I mean, Fabrizio Romano's been getting his clicks by saying like it's almost done, it's about to be done. All that's missing is the last whatever, and I think he's got
Yeah.
this scheduled for about once a week, so he can get those clicks. But it's just a matter of time. I'm not
Yeah.
worried. I think the bigger thing there, like we knew the Brozovic situation, but Perisic wanting to stay, I think is a really big revelation. I
It's
think if he
massive,
wants
yeah.
to stay, that I mean, that's going to be huge for that left side. I think me and you talked about that last week, Dave. That if he wants to stay, like that's a really big champion mindset to want to compete
No,
for a
for sure.
position that long all season.
Yeah, especially if like we just signed a high level player at his position, so that shows great mentality, and I'd love to have him. I'd definitely love to have him. And as for Brozovic, it's good to hear that as well, because the latest news that we were hearing was that Barcelona was offering this amount, Barcelona was offering that amount, and they were still thinking about it. Now to hear Marotta come out and say it, it's refreshing, it's calming. Regardless of his performance yesterday, because he was probably for one of the rare times he was one of our worst performers, if we're honest, yesterday. But still, this guy is a guy that's so important to our midfield. We definitely got to keep him. We got to extend him, and hopefully we could bring in Agume next season to learn under him and they could do a like pretty smooth transition as that extension that we're about to give him is running out in 4 years. Hopefully, Agume is what 20, 24, 23, ready to take over as an Inter starter. I'm sure that's what Marota is planning, like a smooth transition. So let's hope Agume continues to grow, and then by the time Brozo is losing his legs, we could just insert him in there in that position.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing about having Beppe Marotta at the helm is he's playing 6D chess at all times while we're
All
sitting here
times.
looking at checkers. I mean, I as long as that guy's doing what he's doing, I'm not worried. Um,
Yeah,
let's
plus
see.
it's something else when, Pepe Marotta goes out to the media and says it instead of just the usual clickbait from
Yeah, no, no,
anonymous.
it's the law. Yeah, when he says
Yeah,
something, like he's not gonna fuck with his reputation. If he comes out and says something, then it's true.
yeah, because we've been seeing in the comments of our episodes here on YouTube, like and subscribe, click the bell as well if you haven't. And even on Twitter, like we've seen people say like, "Oh, you know, will it happen?" Things have been getting shaky. But like, if Marotta says it's gonna happen, they're working towards. You bet your ass.
Mhm.
They're
Yeah,
Yeah,
making
yeah.
no,
everything
and
possible.
and immediately after Marotta said it, I think some news reporters, I mean some newspapers started reporting that it's very close, it's final details. I think even Fabrizio he reported it again, but we know what Mikey feels about that.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. We've been seeing the same
Happened,
thing for so
merchant.
long. Yeah,
Mm,
Fraudizio Romano, as I've seen him
mm,
called. But there was another interesting question right here I wanted to get to from Due. Would it have been smart to buy Julian Alvarez this January and get Gosens in June? I mean, I don't think we had a chance. I know we talked about Alvarez like we had a chance, and it looked like we
mm.
did. But once Man City comes in, like you don't have a chance. Like,
And I don't think we had the money either, because Gosens that we everybody's speaking about the Gosens deal. When the details came out, we didn't pay any money for Gosens. Gosens is on loan, okay. And of course, the way they had it set up is gonna turn into an obligation for us to buy him in 2023. But Gosens was a free transfer. Pretty much it was a loan. We didn't have any money to spend. We still don't have any money to spend. So once uh once City decided that they were going to pay 18 million, 20 million, or however much it is for Alvarez, he was gone, because we didn't have any money.
Yeah, the
yeah,
difference is also we're gonna be paying Atalanta that Gosens money over years, over a certain amount of time, over installments. While I'm pretty sure City can just afford to pay those 23 million euros. I just looked it up
Yeah.
to do it in
And
one
so,
go.
City
and South,
sneezes 23 million euros. Like that is nothing.
yeah, for real. And those South American clubs, they're not gonna be on some, oh no, let's do installments. They want the cash up front. So yeah, we weren't. I did allow myself to hope a little bit because of course our history with Argentinian guys and what we have. But I mean, the fit would have been perfect as well as the little second striker in our system. But it became realistic once it was true that City was really interested in them, and he was gone. It kind of feels like Gabriel Jesus a couple years back, where we were very close. We were about to get him, but once City stepped in, it was done for us.
Yeah, as long as we don't overcompensate and sign the next Gabby goal because we couldn't get the
Gabigol.
other guy named Gabriel. Like, as long as we don't have that happen, I think we'll be all right. But yeah, the Gosens deal is such a sweetheart deal. I don't know what Beppe was in there. I don't know what blackmail. I don't know what he has. And I know that there's a decent relationship between Atalanta and Inter, but my God, maybe they're apologizing for giving us Gagliardini. I don't know, but it's a great deal. I feel like there is a lot of that goes on in Italy because I think all these Italian directors can kind of go to each other and be like, look, like we're trying to keep the profile of this league somewhat respectable. Like
Yeah.
we need your guys, like we need to keep them in this league, like
In
help
this
us
league,
out.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
hmm No, I see a
So
very interesting comment there from Interpol. You want to touch on it?
uh was it the Alvarez? The
Yeah.
continuing on that? Yeah, okay. Let me see. Regarding the Julian Alvarez point, we already have four talented young strikers. Yeah. Satriano, I'm getting higher on. Of course, he scored on the weekend. But Pinamonti, we've touched on him. Esposito, I think he's gone missing in Switzerland at this point. Salcedo, he can't get time at Spezia. Um, I think Satriano is the best bet out of those young guys. And I mean, we do have other strikers that are either, you know, before their prime or past their prime. Like we need, I mean, we're not going to sign anybody in their prime, most
In
likely.
their prime,
That's
no,
what
no.
we need. Like either that or someone who is on the verge of it, which is, I guess, what we're hoping with Skamaka
With
is that,
Skamaka, like on the
yeah,
verge of blowing up, yeah.
yeah, like if we just put him in like our system with the right guys around him, that's what it's going to
Ex-
take. That's the
exactly.
like, that's the
No,
real gamble.
yeah. To answer that question, Interpol, I feel like all of those guys we can't really say that any of those guys is definitely inter material, even if Pinamonti is at 9 goals right now and or whatnot. But I don't think any of those guys. Satriano, he did score 2 goals in France, but I tuned into the match. He touched the ball like 3 times, so it's still something left to be seen how he does continue to develop. Salcedo, I don't like him at all. I don't rate him at all. I don't even want to mention him. So yeah, we do have young strikers, but none of those guys are guys that we are showing signs that okay, at least 2-3 years they'll be ready to start for us. Esposito is probably the youngest one, not 19. We could wait on him a little bit, but all those guys are probably guys that we're gonna insert into deals to get other guys. None of them show the capacity to be starters for Inter or even role players for Inter, in my opinion.
Yeah, perfectly said. I saw where did it go? The comment. I can't find it, but I'm just gonna go ahead and shout it because it's stuck. It's been stuck in my head for like 20 minutes now.
Oh no. I mean, I'm sorry. He did follow up his comment. I'm sure I'm talking
Okay,
about
right here.
Interpol. Mhm. So
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's what he does mean that we could insert those guys in deals for other strikers. But
yeah.
okay,
Pinamonti's
let's
going to Sassuolo. Pinamonti's definitely going to Sassuolo
yeah,
in the Scamacca deal. I think that's the one guy that
I think
attracts
so. So
interest.
yeah, let's unpack it a bit then. Let's unpack it a bit. Who do you guys? Because I think we've all like kind of resigned to okay, Skamaka is going to be the guy. Who do you guys see in world football right now? That's a guy that we could bring in his prime, realistically, and enter budget to actually be a guy for us right now. I was
That's.
looking.
Oh no,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I was
No,
looking. I saw that we were linked to Sebastian Haller. Um, Mildly, I don't like him. He's a big clunky guy. He's slow. I mean, he does score a lot of goals, but I don't think he would be the guy we need in our system. But other than that, man, I'm not a name that always floats around is Isak, the Swedish guy, but he's struggling this season. I think he has 6 goals in Spain right now. So who is it, bro? Like, who would be a guy that we would bring in to
I
start
mean,
making goals? That's why I think that's probably why we're stuck on the Skamaka train. Like, okay, at least he's in the league. He's getting to know the league. We see where he would fit in the system. I think that's what it is. But the options are really slim. So if you guys in the comments want to add some strikers that you guys would want to add, like us to actually, because we're big on agendas, man. We could start an agenda like that. So let us know, man. Because right now, thinking about it, it's slim pickings, man. It's really slim pickings with strikers. So I think that's why we're stuck on Scamacca. He's Italian. He knows the league. He's scoring goals in the league, and we see the fit. So hopefully it does turn out like we're seeing, but it's not a bunch of options, man.
I mean, Patrick Schick. I don't think we could even afford him at this point. But I mean,
Oh,
he's having a great season in the Bundesliga. Like he's got 19 and 19 right now. Yeah.
that's crazy. How's Andre Silva doing over there? Because I remember he banged a lot of goals last
Oh,
year. But but
would that be another meme?
yeah, Germany seems to be a league that's easy to score in, bro. Because my guy that I had my agenda for, Timo Werner, he scored 1,000,000 goals. I mean, he was scoring a
Ah, but
million
that's
goals
different. He
in
was playing
Germany
in the Nagelsmann system. That's different.
system,
Yeah,
I
that was a
guess.
bit different.
Andre Silva has 9 and 22. Not quite as high as
Okay.
last season. Yeah,
No,
it
but
really
yeah,
is. There aren't many names out there. Like, I see. Yeah, Benjamin saying Jovic. Um, I don't know
Never
if we've
trust the
seen
Serb.
enough out of him.
mm,
Well,
but
not
is
even
he
just
is
that. He hasn't played in like 2 years.
no for real? Like he was only able to play when Real Madrid sent him back on loan to Frankfurt, I think, and then he
He
came
wasn't
right
even
back
that
to
good.
Real Madrid to be on the
Yeah,
bench. Yeah, so I think that hype is dying down. He was one of those guys that he was banging a lot of goals and he was super young, so Real Madrid hurried up and snatched him up because they thought he was the next best thing. But I don't think that he is that, you know. But hey, if they want to loan him to us on some Brian Diaz sweetheart deal, let us have the option to decide what we do. Then let's do it. But it's not a guy that I definitely want to go and buy right now or spend money on.
Yeah,
bring
But yeah,
back
that's a
Vladimir.
good shout though, Mikey. I like Schick. Like I'm sure I got some old tweets about Schick that I could dig up. I like him. He's a similar profile to Skamaka actually. I think he's a lefty though, right? Very technical, tall player. I mean, goes for the spectacular a lot. But damn, it seems like he found his consistency. If he's on 19 goals, I didn't even know. I don't follow that league, so I don't know how anybody's doing in that league. That's
yeah. I've
crazy.
just seen his name mentioned a few times. So I just I gave it a search. I was surprised. I didn't know he had 19. Like the last thing I remember him doing was scoring from like the parking lot in the Euros
Yeah,
for
yeah,
the
yeah.
Czech Republic. Um,
Well, I still got ESPN Plus, man. So I guess I need to tune into a couple matches and watch them. Because that's the profile that he fits the profile.
yeah. Let's see who else has got some
I
ideas.
think Interpol has a couple of good agendas. Apparently
Yeah,
there's this Lukaku guy. He's not too happy at Chelsea. Icardi guy isolated to PSG. Haaland, no one wants him. It's all technical lefty.
Get the hell out of here.
yeah, John. He says Gabriel Jesus. I don't know.
Mm.
He's been
I,
kind of
I, I,
not.
I think he's like that with Lotaro. Even matter of fact, even I think Lotaro is better than Gabriel Jesus in my opinion. They have similar issues as far as the
Yeah,
lack of the
finishing.
killer instinct, the finishing exactly. So it would
Yeah, but they're
be
different type of players. I think Gabi Jesus
yeah,
is more of a creator type.
yeah, he is. He's
Yeah, but
quicker as
if
well.
we have two
At least
strikers
he
that
can win
can't
now.
finish,
We
like
just
And I
want to
think
create chances. We don't want to finish them.
yeah, yeah. Do we
we
just
need
want to we
that's
win the
that's what I'm
XG
saying. Like
Scudetto? Like, come on.
that's what I'm saying. I know, like I appreciate all the shouts, but guys, as you guys are giving us the shouts, keep in mind that we're talking about the big profile, not a second striker. So keep in mind that those guys have to be physical guys, almost in the Dzeko mold that could hold up a ball and lay it off and stuff like that. Because that's what we're missing.
Yeah,
I think
man.
so.
Yesterday watching that match, I was sitting there and I was like, man, if we had like Wolfsburg Dzeko right now, like we would be winning the treble. That just if we just had a younger Dzeko, like that would be the guy that we needed right now.
Hmm.
What
Matthias
about
says
this for a shout?
Dybala
Oh,
for free. We've talked about that one. Yeah, yeah. That's Dave hoping for that one every night.
You guys are gonna see how obnoxious I get if we
Mr.
sign the
Pleasant.
baller.
Mr. Pleasant wants to go fishing in the Eredivisie for Cody Gakpo. Uh that's another kind of
Mm,
more unproven, but I mean,
yeah,
has
I
12
don't
goals
know.
and 13 assists this season in all competitions for PSV. But
Mm,
yeah, Eredivisie. I know Mr. Pleasant also said he
no.
put some respect on the Eredivisie earlier, but it's very hit or miss. I think we were very calculated, and when we went for Dumfries, I don't know how many times you can go fishing to that hole without coming up with nothing.
That whole.
Not calling the league a hole. That was just my analogy
Oh,
going
oh,
on.
oh, okay.
nice save.
Interpool, yeah, the Haaland thing. He wants the moon. I don't think anyone's gonna give it to him.
No. Oh, he's gonna get the moon, but not from us. We can't afford. Oh,
Yeah,
that's a good shot, John.
Yeah, Jonathan
Oh, the
David.
Canadian, American, Italians got it again.
No, I take Jonathan David. I think he's a good
No, no,
striker. I don't know if he's the profile. I think he's more of
exactly.
the
Uh,
second striker type.
Exactly. I see him more as instead of Lotaro. He works just as hard. You know, he runs a lot and he finishes much better. So if we do end up in a position where I guess either Tottenham or Arsenal or even Atletico come calling for Lotaro and we get something around 65, 70, I'd say definitely sell him. And then Jonathan David would be on the top of my list. Him and Raspadori. So that's a good shout right there. But yeah, you guys don't have any more big guys for us?
Oh, I saw
Memphis
one.
Depay.
Get the hell out of
Depay.
here.
Artem Zuba from Russia.
Isak.
Yeah,
Russia.
right.
I haven't
Well,
heard that name
he's
since
big.
2018, bro. When he was hyped up on those not Australia, those Russian roids for that World Cup.
Oh yeah, the World Cup. Yeah, for real.
Yeah, Weghorst. He's done nothing this season. Because we were looking at him. Yeah, I mean, he scored 6 for. Who did he score 6 for? Wolfsburg, and then he's moved to Burnley and played 3 matches, got an assist, and got injured. We don't need any more injuries.
Football. Come on, you gotta let it play out.
You guys think
football?
you guys think we could get Turan for cheap? Because since he's come back from his injury, he's been bad. Like I don't think he's scored much or at all this season.
Is he back?
Well, I think he
haven't.
was back.
I mean, I was just lucky to pull Schick out of nowhere. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what.
No, that was a good shot. I'll hold on to the shit. So you guys see. So the fact that we brainstorm real quick. I guess with further research, we'd probably have more names. But yeah, like in world football, we don't have much of those strikers available that we could afford in that profile. So I guess that's why we're clinging on to Skamaka. And hopefully he can turn out to be what we want him to be. He definitely has the talent. Hopefully he can turn out to be that because he looks like he's going to be it unless Beppe has a surprise up his sleeve that nobody expected.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. Beppe can always go out and do something. But with Scamacca, like, it reminds me of this whole situation between Inter and Juve of scrambling the rest of the league for the next striker. Reminds me of the whole, like, Bonucci, Ranocchia decision. And, one team gets one gets the other, and then you compare them, and one just was miles over the other one. So, like, I'm just hoping we didn't pull the furry end of the straw on that one. I think he'll be fine. But yeah, it really will define the next 3 to 4 seasons on whether or not we get this striker correct.
For sure, 100%.
But yeah, I think we're pretty much to the end of everything now. I want to give Figo a shout. I think I've counted that he wants the Lautaro shirt, Dave's chain, my mug, Ian's water. We're going full yard sale.
Damn, I forgot Figo was on the chat, man. I gotta tuck my chain, tuck the jewelry.
yeah, I kept mine deep in there under 2 layers. I need to keep it.
Hey, but guys, thank you everybody, man. This episode was super fun. I see we're running about 20 minutes longer than we want to usually, but it's because you guys are being so interactive with us, and we can't help but to interact back. So thank you everybody for joining. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, this has been a fun one, guys. The striker stuff has really been, something that kind of puts it into perspective because there is no Lukaku waiting out there, saying, come and get me. So
yeah.
This is where we're at. But yeah, thanks everyone. Ian, do you want to talk us out, and we'll see everybody in the next one?
Sure, why not?
How do I make you full screen again? That's always how we end it. Okay, and go.
Hello. So, apparently there's this thing on YouTube that you can do that you click a little bell and it notifies you when we're going live. So, why don't you go and do that? Other than that, thank you for checking us out. We're on Twitter at BOTWpod, on Instagram at BOTWpod, again, on Facebook at Brothers of the World Podcast, again. On our personal Twitters are in the main Twitter bio. Sure, that works. Subscribe to the YouTube, like, share, comment, bell again. Don't forget it because I know you forgot it the first time. Other than that, yeah, thank you for checking us out. And we'll see you in the next episode. Peace.
Boo.